This is the most scary and dangerous animal to ever live on Earth. This is Titanoboa. This is an ancient snake that lived over 58 million years ago. And according to scientists, for nearly 10 million years, it was the largest predator on the planet. Titanoboa's length was 43 feet long, and its weight was well over a ton. This snake was so big that you can lay 2 giraffes on the ground, and Titanoboa will still be longer. If you still can't comprehend how big this snake was, on the left is a vertebrae of an anaconda, which is the biggest snake on the planet right now, and on the right is the vertebrae of Titanoboa. It is so much more bigger than the anacondas. Titanoboa was 3 feet in width, and Titanoboa can swallow a hippopotamus whole. Titanoboa was a bloodthirsty predator who ate everything in water and land. Everybody on Earth is super lucky Titanoboa is not around anymore. This is the scary story about the hairdo. There was a middle-aged woman who always wore her hair in a bun. She was very proud of her hairdo and thought she was the most fashionable of all her friends. The woman was very lazy, and she didn't like spending the time cleaning her hair or styling it. Instead, she just left her hair how it was, and she never even washed it. Whenever she took a shower, she would wear a shower cap so the water didn't mess up her hair. After a while, her hair began to smell, so she used hairspray to cover the smell. One morning, the woman did not come down for breakfast, so her husband went up to the bedroom to wake her up. To his horror, he discovered that his wife had died during the night. At first, the police thought she might have had a heart attack. However, when they conducted an autopsy, they examined her hair and found something terrifying. A black widow spider made a nest in her hair and laid many eggs. When the baby spiders hatched, they had bitten through her skull and ate their way into her brain. This is a scary story about the strange dream. One summer day, a kid named Chris lost his footing and fell off a cliff. He landed on a ledge and it saved his life, but he was badly injured and had to be rescued. He hit his head on the fall and he was unconscious. The doctors found swelling in his brain, and he had to get surgery immediately. After the surgery, he went into a coma. A few days later, he recovered, and his friend went to go visit him in the hospital. Chris then told him about the strange dream he had while he was unconscious. In the dream, he was at a train station. There was nobody else in sight. When the train pulled up to the station, he got in. There was nobody on the train. He was completely alone. Then he heard a crackling voice on the speakers. It said, "Next stop, final stop. Next stop, end of line." Something about the announcement sent a chill down his spine, and he jumped out of his seat and managed to get off the train. Just as the doors were closing, he woke up from his coma. The doctor said he was between life and death. He then said to his friend, "If I hadn't gotten off that train, I believe the end of the line meant I would have died."
This is why you always say yes to tandoori chicken. In 2012, a high school tutor and her student stayed up so late one night studying that by the time they were done, the buses had stopped running. Without another way home, the student asked if he could stay the night at her place. Reluctantly, she agreed. When they got back to the apartment, she fell asleep on her bed and he fell asleep on a blanket next to her bed on the ground. A few hours later, she wakes up to the boy standing awkwardly in the middle of the room with a very strange look on his face. She asks him, "What's wrong?" He looks at her and says, "I'm really hungry. Let's go get some tandoori chicken." Confused, she says, "It's 2 a.m. Just get a snack in the cupboard." And he grabs her by the arm and he says, "No, we are getting tandoori chicken right now." And he yanks her from the bed. Feeling totally caught off guard by this whole situation, she goes into the hall with the boy, and as soon as the door shuts behind them, she can tell that he is terrified. He looks at her and just says, "I'm not actually hungry. When I woke up, there was someone under your bed."
This has to be the worst form of torture ever. I still can't believe that this form of torture is real and is this bad. The form of torture I'm talking about is white room torture. It is basically where prisoners are isolated in white rooms, wear white clothes, and eat white food from white plates. Now you might be thinking, how could this be that bad? Well, white room torture is a form of psychological torture concerning complete isolation and sensory deprivation of the prisoners. So you see nobody else and you hear absolutely nothing except for yourself. All you get served too is white rice on a white plate. Oh, and if you need to go to the bathroom, they'll slip you a white paper under the door for you to poop on, and then you slip it right back under when you're done. This form of torture is so bad that the prisoner loses his own identity in the process. You cannot remember who you are, and you can't remember any of your family. The result of this torture is the loss of identity and forgetting everything you ever knew. You come out of this room a completely different person.
Yes, the picture at the end is real. In 1876, a woman from a very prominent family in Paris goes missing. After years go by and no one has a clue what happened to this woman, friends and family ultimately mourn her death and move on. 25 years later, and this anonymous letter shows up on the Attorney General's desk, claiming that the missing woman's family had a secret. Intrigued by the letter, the police go to the family's home, show it to them, and ask to search the property, to which they say, go for it. They search, they don't find anything, but on the way out, they notice something very peculiar. At the end of some stairs was a door that was padlocked shut. When the family refused to open it, the police break it down and make a horrifying discovery. Cowering on a rotten straw mattress in a pitch black room was the missing woman, now 50 years old and extremely malnourished. Her mother had imprisoned her there after they had fought over her boyfriend, and she had not seen sunlight or another human being in 25 years.